Welcome to our webinar, everyone. We're really excited to have everyone here. Today, we're talking about Purchase Ready, how to develop a pre-approved buyer funnel. And we have a really wonderful presenter here for us today. We've got Racole Jackson. She is an attorney down in Florida. She's one of the top educators down there, working on all sorts of trainings in the real estate sphere. And she has a really diverse real estate background. So we are really, really blessed to have her presenting to us today and to our audience. And I'm going to hand the reins over to Racole and let her just quickly tell you a little bit about her background. Racole, welcome and thank you for being here.
Well, thanks so much for having me again, Ben, and welcome everyone into the room. We're looking very much forward to having a great opportunity, a great time, just discussing this topic about developing a pre-approved buyer funnel to get you guys to the closing table, right? Ultimately, it's about getting buyers into homes and getting you guys to the closing table. As Ben mentioned, my name is Racole Jackson. I'm a South Florida real estate attorney. I am located in sunny South Florida. A little bit about me personally. I am originally from Miami. I attended the University of Florida, so I always say go Gators, just to agitate any Seminoles that might be in the room. I did move out to California and obtain my law degree from Santa Clara University School of Law, where I was the founder of the Real Estate Law Society. And obviously that was a special interest group for attorneys or aspiring for law students who had a special interest in real estate. Came back home to Miami, got my LLM in real property development from the University of Miami School of Law. So go Canes also, maybe. Again, as I mentioned, I am a licensed Florida real estate sales professional and a licensed mortgage loan originator. And so it's a great opportunity. I look forward to having this conversation with you guys. I am also the CEO of the Purchase Ready group, along myself with my team. We provide services to buyers and sellers from soup to nuts. So essentially from loan origination to purchase, sale, title, closing, and of course, I am a real estate attorney, so legal representation as well. We look to provide a full suite of services to our customers.
Perfect, perfect. Well, Racole, welcome again. Like I said, everyone, she has a massive amount of real estate background on all sorts of avenues throughout the transaction. So we are really, really blessed to have her here. We got a lot of content to cover today. So real quick, we're just going to go over some of our objectives just to make sure everyone knows what we're going to go over. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to go over the essential elements of a high converting buyer funnel. And that's going to include how you attract potential customers to ensuring they're pre-qualified and ready to make a purchase. We're also going to go over how you can maximize your leasing leads and opportunities for conversion to buyers. And then we're going to talk about the power of pre-approval and how it can expedite the sales process and increase your conversion rates. So we're going to dive right into our first topic. And the first thing I want to make sure is that everyone in the audience understands what a sales funnel is, not necessarily a web page or a website, and then some of the basics around why they're so impactful. So Racole, can you kind of give us an overview of what a sales funnel is and why they're impactful?
Exactly. So first of all, I want to make sure that, to your point, Ben, I want to frame the conversation around a funnel to, of course, first of all, have a visual of a funnel so that we can understand that our responsibility when building a funnel, what we're looking to do is guide consumers from one place to another. And so specifically, hopefully, after our conversation today, a large amount of consumers, potential customers, from awareness to conversion to closing, convert them into buyers. And so what we want to do is we want to bring them in and guide them. All right, that is the idea when we say a funnel. We want to bring them into your database and then guide them through the different steps towards closing. And so with your marketing, your goal is to create a buyer funnel that is tailored to your business's ideal customers, right? And so of course it's a, maybe not necessarily a come one to come all, but we want to make sure that when we are speaking, who we're attracting are those types of buyers that we really would like to work with. Now, one other visual I want to make sure that we're clear on today when we look at this funnel, so that we can understand how important this topic of marketing is. This topic of marketing is extremely important, and not only marketing, but massive marketing, guys. Massive, massive, massive marketing. And here's why. So we have on the screen a visual of a funnel. We know that every individual that's top of funnel that we talk to, we speak to, they might not necessarily convert into a contact. You know, maybe it's an online marketing that they don't the lead magnet didn't convert, right? It was not valuable enough for them to provide their name, email address, and phone number, right? But what about if they did convert? It was valuable enough for them to provide their name, email address, and phone number. They're going to work their way down to now start being nurtured, right? And so maybe your communication is asking them to schedule a consultation with you. Click the link in your bio, click the link in your signature block. The number of people that are going to do that are going to be less than the number of people who gave you their contact information, correct? And then the number of people that you actually meet with, maybe for whatever reason they're not ready right now, they're not ready, or maybe you meet with them and for whatever reason they did not just your magic did not connect with them, who knows, right? So we're whittling our population down to just to less people, right? So maybe that's about 50% of this top of funnel. But those people that we met with, we connected. We had a great conversation. We got them to complete our loan application to get them to pre-approval review, right? And oh, by the way, about 5 of those had credit issues, so they're not really ready yet. But the other 5, they're ready. They got their pre-approval, right? And so of those 5, we want to get them out and we want to show them properties, right? And so 4 of those 5 went under contract. Wonderful. 4 or 5 in 1 month went under contract. Phenomenal. And then 3 of 5 were able to stay under contract. We did the inspection, everything worked out just fine. We were able to keep them under contract, and ultimately 3 got to closing in 1 month. You guys closed 3 deals in 1 month. Well,
Well,
again, we started off with about 100. This is why massive marketing is important. We want to make sure that when we talk about funnel, for a visual sake, we want you to do massive marketing, get them into your funnel, and leading them again into the direction of the closing table.
I love that. That's such a great breakdown. And I really love how you also focused on just kind of the process there of how we pull them through the funnel. Because I know
Mhm.
there's a lot of people, they get discouraged, when the top of funnel, it's not working so well, or they're just not getting as much, immediate communication. They get
Correct.
discouraged. They say it's not working, but they really just haven't given the process a long enough time to trickle down.
Yeah,
And
correct, correct.
yeah, and you really explain that well. So I really think that's great. And I think now everyone's hopefully on the same page of how the funnel kind of works, what we're looking at. So let's discuss a little bit now how to actually start building that top of funnel and what you've seen that's been successful.
So one of the first things you want to do is you want to take an hour, even maybe even a half a day, maybe take an hour, come back to it to determine who is my target audience. Who do I really want to work with? When I first started practicing, there was this phrase that attorneys practice front door law, meaning whoever comes through the front door. I'm just trying to get a customer. Well, ultimately, many of you are in a position where you do not have to practice front door real estate. Whoever walks in the front door, whoever calls on your sign, whoever grabs your email address, if you're not there, you're absolutely going to be in a place where you are going to work with the types of buyers that you desire to work with. And so you want to make sure that you, again, first identify who do I want to work with, and then with this determining who I would like to work with, you want to explore techniques to attract and engage that audience, right? And building a community of pre-approved buyers who are genuinely interested in your products or services. So this community is going to be people that, again, that you match with, right? So that it makes sense. Now, one of the things that I love about Rental Beast as a massive marketer and as someone who's always looking for the largest pool of potential contacts is Rental Beast is a top of funnel gold mine. Remember a couple slides ago, we talked about that top of funnel? We want it to be huge. We want it to be huge. We want every potential lead that we can get in front of to again move them down our funnel, we want to be there. We want to be there. And so for those that are you're looking at Rental Bees, you have your Rental Bees subscription, you are subscribing to Rental Bees, keep your subscription because it is a powerful tool for you to build your pipeline. And here's why it's a powerful tool to build your pipeline. No lead is a bad lead. No lead is a bad lead. And what do I mean by that? Even if that buyer, say for example, is that 5 of 10 that their credit isn't right just yet. Well, there's a as Apple used to say, there's an app for that. There's a way to fix that. So we can put them in our credit repair funnel, right? So we can make sure that we're communicating to them how to increase their credit scores. We know that there's an opportunity, there's a resource for renters, those that are leasing properties, to take their rental histories and use it to increase their credit score, right? So no lead is a bad lead. And so again, if for whatever reason that customer is not ready just yet, they're going to go in your funnel and you're going to make sure that you continue to nurture them to becoming purchase ready, converting them into a buyer.
I love that call out. There's an app for that. And that's so true. Like there's a lot of ways that we can start rectifying issues and getting them towards that path of home ownership. We just might need to be more proactive because sometimes, especially first-time home buyers, they don't really know where to start. So that's where we're coming in, bringing that value, helping to cultivate and nurture them, like Racole was talking about. So similar to what we just talked about here, what are some reasons or examples of why leasing leads are promising prospects in the purchase pipeline and why we should be focused on trying to cultivate and nurture them to purchase?
Well, short answer, guys, in this market, you likely know that because the application process and requirements to be approved for a lease nowadays are very similar to what it takes to purchase, why aren't we having the conversation? In South Florida, credit scores are similar to what they must be to purchase. Deposits, they're similar to what a buyer would bring to closing for their cash to close. I mean, what are we talking about? Reserves. We have communities again that their leasing requirements are so much akin to what a buyer must present to qualify for a loan. Why don't we just have a conversation with them about that? And so the opportunity to convert again your leasing leads that you're gathering through Rental Bees is a huge opportunity for you to convert them to a bigger closing, right? And so what I share here on the screen, one of my colleagues, Michelle, she is a leasing expert, and she sent us a screenshot. If you guys see here on the screen, the lead reached out and said, I'm looking to rent a 4-4. My budget is $18,750 per month. Excuse me? If you have that much money to spend on a lease, we should be having a conversation about purchasing, right? And so, of course, the consultation with this leasing lead, is going to pivot towards, well, here's where you are, here are your financial qualifications now, and here's what is required for you to purchase. You're going to spend less purchasing than you are renting. Do you want to look at purchasing? And 9.9 times out of 10, that customer is going to say, absolutely, absolutely.
I love that. I mean, yeah, how often, when you see numbers like that come through, you're definitely, if the bells aren't going off that, hey, this person might be able to purchase, I think we're missing a main piece of evidence here. So definitely something that we got to keep our ears open for. And the requirements, like you said, there are some areas where the credit score and the deposit money, it's similar to what a renter is. So we need to be active in having those conversations to make them start visualizing, I could be a buyer, because sometimes
Right,
they just don't see them, in that position. So
right.
shifting a little bit now that we've kind of gone over what it is, why leasing leads are promising, what does someone need to consider first or maybe early on once they start developing a funnel, and how can they, make sure that they're making it successful?
Right. So keeping in mind that the effectiveness of your funnel is going to be tied to not just the contacts that are in the funnel, but the content that is being communicated to those contacts, right? So we want to make sure that they match. So who is your ideal customer? when we're building our funnel, first we want to look at who are the contacts we're looking to bring into our funnel. Who is that ideal customer? Who did you have a blast working with? And if there were, 48 hours in one day, you would be just fine working all those hours with that type of customer. Who is that? Be very clear. You guys have probably gone through exercises before where they've even asked you to name that person. What's their age? What's their gender? What's their income? Where do they live? Right? Because literally, if you drill down um to that person and you speak to that person, then of course your marketing, your communication is going to convert even easier, correct? And then again, where is your ideal customer located? Now, the reason why we want to know where they're located is because we can have the right message, but if it's in the wrong place, what are we doing, right? So if you are one where you work well with teachers, shouldn't your marketing be in, near, or about schools or wherever teachers are located? So where is your ideal customer located? And again, this is where you guys see the ad and you say, how'd you hear about us? Right? And so if 50% of the people are saying, oh, I heard about you on Instagram, where do you think that company's market is going to be more so focused at? Instagram, right? And then what messaging would resonate with your ideal customer? What do they want to hear? What is going to move them from waiting, or as Ben said, unconvinced that they can purchase, or unmotivated? What's going to motivate them? What's going to motivate them to make a move to contact you, right? And make a real estate investment, right? And then what questions does your ideal customer have? Listen, if you've closed any number of deals or you've conducted any number of consultations, this should be an easy one for you. What questions were you asked during that transaction? Because literally matchy match, whatever questions that customer had, if you're working in that same target audience, others in that audience are going to have that same question. And so when you're developing your marketing, you're answering that question. And so that ideal customer is being magnetized and say, well, how do you know? I was thinking that. Well, because my other customer asked that question, right? And so again, when you start looking at a target audience, then now all of a sudden you're pretty much, they'll say, get out of my head, right? Now, the other thing I want to say is that when you niche down, don't be too concerned about niching down, because I can tell you for sure, when you do one thing well, others will come and ask you to expand your scope, right? So me as a real estate attorney, or if I'm saying, oh, I only represent, second time home buyers, or two second property or vacation home buyers, but it's showing that I'm doing a lot of deals. The idea is, oh, Racole does a lot of deals. She can help me. I'll just ask her if she'll find me a home. I know she only does vacation rentals, but I mean, it's real estate, right? Like, I'll just ask her. So don't be too concerned about being known for a particular thing, because you will 100% attract others who will ask you to help them with their thing as well, which is, of course, a real estate transaction.
I love that. That's a really good answer. And I really can't disagree with, hey, we got to start with really defining our target audience and understanding them well. Because I know when I was in real estate, granted, I was in the commercial world more and I was representing, tenants. I had my two little avatars, my little personas, Dr. Smyrney, Dr. Anna. And, we'd fleshed them out. What are their questions? What are their pains? Where are they looking? What are they trying to get to? And from there, like you said, the questions that they have, it guides the material that you're making, but also you can make a
Right.
cheat sheet. You start getting those questions, you start practicing those answers, you start curating content towards it. But I think, if you don't know where the target is or what you're aiming for, it's very
Right.
tough to make a successful funnel. And I think that's what you're really getting at is let's make sure we define this person, what we're aiming for. We have a target, and then we start building for the target.
Right. And I like your example because oftentimes you will answer questions that they didn't know that they had, right? Um, oftentimes our consumers, they can't answer all the questions, but if you put, that's why we do, like, for example, focus groups, right? At some point, everyone's going to kind of ask all the questions. And so when you gather those questions, again, you'll start providing information, answers to questions that your consumers haven't even asked. And now you really look like a star.
Yeah, it's like you get a step ahead of them kind of thing. And then you're really in their head because they're like, you already knew what I was about to ask. How did you do that?
Exactly.
Yeah, yeah.
Exactly.
So, all right, we fleshed out our target audience now. We got them, all defined. We're ready to rock and roll. What are some ways that we can start using lead magnets to actually increase the chances of now pulling them into our funnel and start pulling them through?
So primarily, I'm sure you guys have probably heard about lead magnets, and all lead magnets are in their essence is, what can I offer you in exchange for your contact information, right? What can I dangle in front of you that will magnetize you to my space, my store, my website, right? And then, of course, exchange your contact information in exchange for, obviously, I'm either gonna attempt to contact you directly, or the very least stay in contact with you, right? I may be proactive, what we call prospecting. That's a whole nother call and conversation. I may call you directly, or I may be passive. I may just market. I may just shoot you emails. But ultimately, is the information that I'm providing to you in this lead magnet worth you expecting that reach out from me? And so what we found to be very effective, first time homebuyer guides. Those are just in these lead magnets, guys, just in case someone's getting overwhelmed already, like what? Once you create it, it's called evergreen. You don't even have to create it again. I mean, unless the rules change, but literally you can make this guide one time. And the thousands and thousands and thousands and thousands of people who come across your social media, or your website, or your billboard, or your signature block, right? The thousands and thousands of people who come across that, they're going to get that same information. It's not going to ever go bad. It's what's called evergreen. So you do the work once, and it's the gift that keeps on giving, right? So first time home buyers, they're chock full of questions. And so that's a great target audience, right? And they're a great target audience because, again, it's easier, I would say, to know what their questions are. They have all the questions, right? Home financing webinars, that's huge. Right now, the topic du jour is interest rates, it's affordability, it's the cost of purchasing. And so if you step out in the forefront and present yourself as the expert of how to finance a home purchase, even in this market, of course I want to talk to you. Of course I'll give you my contact information. Virtual home tours, those are always very good lead magnets. People love homes. We love homes. That's why we have HGTV, right? And so that's something that you should definitely consider as a lead magnet. Customized property reports. Maybe you can do a, outside of your buyer consultation, when you conduct a buyer consultation, you're likely going to ask them, where would you like to live? Square footage, bed and bath mix, what amenities are you looking for? And then you're going to just set them up on an automated drip campaign. You're going to get, well, what we call in our MLS a hot sheet, right? That's always a great lead magnet and a reason that someone will want to provide you with their contact information. Home renovation and design ebooks, that's a very good lead magnet, not just for current owners and sellers, but for buyers as well. Again, I would venture to say 95% of America is interested in homes. HGTV, flip this house. The only reason why I say 95%, there may be 5% of some men or women that are like, I really could care less, but the majority of America is interested in homes. Beautiful homes, ugly homes, the transformation of homes. Again, if that were not the case, we wouldn't have multiple stations that are dedicated to providing that information to watchers, right? Financial planning for a home buyers course. Again, money, money, money. We talked about on Tuesday, if you guys were on the call, we talked about marketing money, and we're going to get more into that later in our discussion today. But ultimately, if if a potential home buyer, someone that is interested in purchasing a home, has not made a move yet, it's simply because they likely feel like they can't afford it. It's all about money. It's all about money, right? We do have a shortage in inventory a little bit, but generally it's about money. And so again, if you can develop an online course, and again, it doesn't have to be anything tremendously long. Guys, you guys can create a quick, 20 slides, go on Zoom, record it, and all of a sudden it's a lead magnet. It's something that you can send out in exchange for, again, someone's name, email address, and phone number, right? Email newsletter. This should be an easy one. Any brokerage you're with should have a CRM with this drip campaign already built in. Just use your CRM. Use your CRM. Add your contact information, add your photo, and make sure that you are communicating with your prospects. One thing I want you guys to remember, that to bring in the contact is not enough. Generally, you're not going to convert someone on your first contact, right? You need to nurture them. And so one concept that you've heard before, and I want to remind you of for the purposes of our conversation today, is out of sight, out of mind. Out of sight, out of mind. Out of sight, out of mind. If your contacts are not hearing from you, they're going to forget. They're going to forget. Or at the very least, maybe your contact information isn't handy. Oh, but if you're that realtor that you make sure to send an email every Monday, they'll expect it and they'll know where to look for your contact information. So if nothing else, if you don't have time for anything else right now because you're just the super selling agent and you have closings every day, take 10 minutes to make sure you add your photo and your contact information to your CRM so that that automated email campaign can deploy, okay? Interactive mortgage comparison tools. These are very effective. Again, marketing money. Money. Everyone wants to know about money. Can I afford it? So if you have, for example, a mortgage calculator tool on your website, in your link in bio, in your signature block, that is going to be a very effective tool for you. Now, one of the features you want to make sure that you have in that calculator is comparing the cost of renting versus what? Buying. Because the purpose of our conversation today is to get buyers. We want everyone purchase ready. So we always want to keep before our contacts, our prospects, the end goal of buying. Again, that's our whole funnel. We want to grab them and guide them to the closing table. And then community forums, they are very, 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 very impactful. These take a little bit more work to deploy and manage, but the return on them is greater because with these communities, you have a captivated audience. Think about the Facebook groups, for example, that you're a member of. When you go in there, you're going in there for one reason. And the only information you're going to hear about is the information related to the topic, the theme of that Facebook group, right? So if you, as a realtor, you have created a Facebook group, when anyone goes in there, they're only going to hear about what? Buying and selling, maybe leasing real estate, and they're going to hear about that services from yours truly, right? They're not going to hear about it from all the other folks that might be offering their services. They're going to hear about it from you only, again, because with creating these forums, these small groups, you create a captivated audience, okay? Now, one thing we want to be sure of is an effective lead magnet. They not only attract leads, but they provide true value. This is where you're going to have to make sure, and this is where it's important that we know who we're talking to. Because say, for example, I specialize in equestrian homes, right? And so my content is going to be geared towards those who are interested in what? Horse country, horses, right? So I may have horses a lot in my marketing and such. But if that's the case, if that's my community, then my marketing should not talk about cars, right? And have homes with 5-car garages, right? It needs to provide true value. And if it provides true value, it's going to build trust and it's going to establish a connection with your leads. And so make sure again that your marketing is not just set it and forget it, but that you're being very intentional about what you're communicating and what you're putting in front of your leads.
Well, I know a lot of the questions I hear from agents a lot of times is, what should I be marketing? How can I do my lead generation? Those were, I wasn't entirely counting, but I think 10 suggestions there of different
Oh,
types
it's
of
too
lead
many.
magnets that we can be working on. Don't get overwhelmed and say, oh, I got to do all 10 of these. Focus on 2 to 3 of them. Once you've defined your target audience, focus on 2 to 3. And one thing
Absolutely.
that Racole also mentioned that I loved was on the repurposing of content. Once it's evergreened, you can change the title out, change the focus a little. Like your guides, the information isn't going to change. You might need to tweak it a little or a title, but this content can be repurposed and reused. And one of the things I did when I was posting things out is, how many of y'all create a piece of content and you only blast it out once? How many times are you sitting there scheduling it for the next 12 months?
Right.
You create a piece of content, that thing still has value in lifetime. So use a scheduling platform if you have one and schedule it for, I don't know, the first quarter of, next 3 months and have it go out 6 times.
Yes.
Test 2 different messages, see which ones work really well, and then repurpose it again further down the runway. These things have longer life values, so don't just use them in one tweet or something like that. Let's make sure we're maximizing the time you put into it and reducing your legwork.
Right.
One other thing, Google or trends.google. If you haven't used it before, it's a great place to go to start brainstorming on what are some trends? What are my home buyers researching? And that way you also get even more inside their head, like we were talking about with that target audience. So as you're looking at all those ideas that Racole gave you, start thinking about how can I maximize it and then see what resonates and start duplicating, what works. So a lot of
Write
great
that
ideas.
down. Trends.google.
Yeah, trends.google. It's great. So anytime you're kind of sitting on a stump and you're like, oh, I don't know what to do here. Go there and use it as your brainstorming. Start there. It's a great launch pad. So,
Right.
all right. So we got tons of ideas for our lead magnets and we've got our bait. We're trying to get someone to bite. So once we get them in the funnel, help me understand what you consider is a quality lead. And then could we go over some nurturing strategies that can be used to help increase the chances of converting that lead into a buyer?
So, of course, the quality lead, first of all, is name, email address, and phone number, right? Those are the main ways that you're going to communicate with a lead. Of course, mailing address, you could grab that. That's valuable if you're working with a seller, definitely. But obviously, for the purpose of our conversation today, we're talking about buyers. And so simply having their name, email address, and phone number are going to be valuable. And so keeping in mind, because you want to make sure that you have this information when you are developing your lead funnel, you want to make sure that there are many lead funnels that have functionality that requires that information. So you'll be able to, and it'll have an asterisk next to it. I'm sure you guys have filled out registrations before. You want to make that information required if at all possible. Phone number, people may be leery about that, but at the very least, you want to have their name and email address. Now, once you get that lead, you want to make sure, so speed to lead, and that's going to look different again based upon what the lead magnet was. But you always want to have, to the extent possible, some form of automated response to that lead, right? So an email address, a text message, some way to ensure, and of course, if you got it like that, a phone call would be phenomenal. If you can jump on the phone right away as soon as that lead comes in, that is going to increase your conversion tremendously. And so what we have on the screen is feedback from one of your Rental Beats colleagues where he's a huge also a leasing agent and uses Rental Beats at a very high level. And what we were discussing is some of the ways that JR is able to convert the lead flow that he obtains from Rental Beats And as you see on the screen, it says one of the first proactive strategies that he uses is to text them, right? You want to make a phone call and then text. Text is always going to be a very effective way of communicating. So email is less costly. I'm going to be very honest with you. If you deploy a text messaging platform, specifically a mass text messaging platform, it's probably going to cost you a couple per text. So when you do that, you want to make sure that you're not blasting out a bunch of text messages, because you're going to pay, potentially 9 cents per text message. But when it's an important, marketing, maybe you have scheduled a home buyers workshop, or maybe you're going to go live or some event, use your text messaging. And of course, also use your phone. But definitely, as leads come in, each one by one, you want to make sure that you're able to respond right away. So you're responding right away, confirming receipt with an automated email. And then, of course, if you can send a text message, you want to do that as well, again, until you can get on the phone. Now, we know leasing leads is very much a speed to lead standard, because leasing leads, they're ready to make a move, right? It doesn't take long to find an apartment, or maybe even a single family home, and move in. So leasing leads, you definitely don't want to play that long game. I'm going to drop them in my funnel and then follow up. The leasing leads, you want to get on those right away. Now, remembering that the goal of our marketing and our conversation today is, how do we build not just a funnel of leads, but how do we develop a pre-approved buyer funnel? A pre-approved buyer funnel. And why are we saying pre-approved buyers? Well, first of all, let's talk about the difference between a pre-qualification and a pre-approval. Pre-qualification is just essentially saying you qualify to apply. You qualify to make the application, right? And what that looks like is your buyer speaking with the loan officer or lender and just verbally providing their financial statistics, right? Oh, I make $95,000 a year. I have $95,000 in a bank account. I have a 800 credit score. And I've been working at Amazon for 10 years, right? Oh, great. Yeah, you're pre-qualified. You should apply. But a pre-approval, guys, a pre-approval is you providing your last two check stubs, your last two pay stubs that show, yes, you're on target to make $95,000 a year. And you show your last two bank statements that show up, yep, absolutely, that $95,000 is in your bank account. Oh, and we pulled your credit, yep, you have an 800 credit score. Oh, in your work history, oh, yep, absolutely, 10 years at Amazon. That is a pre-approval. That is gathering the documentation to run it through a authorization system. Maybe it's automated underwriting, or placing it before an underwriter that says, yes, this buyer is pre-approved for a loan amount at X amount of dollars. And so what we're talking about today is, when you're doing your marketing, you don't want to just say, oh, who wants to buy a home, or you should buy a home. Because you want to move these prospective buyers off the fence, and because you want to collapse your contract to close period, you want to move these prospective buyers to not wait until they're ready to buy to be pre-approved. You want to educate them by saying, hey, sellers want buyers who already have a pre-approval. You want to be able to close in 2 weeks? Here's what you should do. You make sure that you communicate to your prospects how you are getting buyers pre-approved, right? And so again, you're already preconditioning them to, when they do speak to you, expect that you're going to want to move them towards getting a pre-approval, that you're not just waiting until it's time to go under contract. You guys do realize that an underwritten pre-approved buyer simply only needs to identify a property, go under contract. Once they go under contract, they could literally close in 2 weeks, simply needing an appraisal, survey, if it's the appropriate property type, and clear title. Who doesn't want a 2-week closing period? I do. all day long, right? And so for that reason, when we are communicating with our prospective customers, hey, we don't want to just get a pre-qualification, and we don't want to just be learning about a homeownership until we get ready to go on a contract. We want to be pre-approved, and you want to reach out to me now to make sure that we can get you pre-approved and purchase ready. Now, with that communication, you want to make sure that you tell them, like, here's all you need. Here's all you need to get pre-approved. I know it sounds like a lot, but we only need to complete an application, right? Photo ID, 2 months bank statements, your 2 most recent pay stubs, your tax returns. That's not too bad, right? And you want to make sure that your marketing says that's not too bad, right? That's not too bad. To all it needs is the first step to get you into a purchase ready posture, right? For you to make a real estate investment. So all of my marketing, guys, all of my marketing is around how to get purchase ready, because time is money, right? And so I want to condition my prospective customers to know, when you get on Zoom with me, or we meet in person for a consultation, I'm going to ask for documents so that we can get you pre-approved, right? So make sure that you fold this into all of your marketing, not just, just close, right? Well, you just closed, great, congratulations. Was that a pre-approved buyer? And how did that help them, right? How did that help them get to the closing table sooner? You want to educate them about credit. You'll be surprised. Many people think that they must have, a 700 credit score. Those credit scores are great because we know that that's going to impact their interest rate, but you can qualify for a loan with a 620, a 680, a 670, right? They can qualify. And so, yes, the higher the credit score, the better the interest rate. However, you can qualify. You can qualify to 620. So again, you want to get prospective customers off the fence. Guys, I assure you, right now, there are so many prospective buyers that do not realize that there are programs available for them to purchase, regardless of their financial situation. Some of them may need a little bit more help. Some may even need down payment assistance, but there is an app for that, right? So you want to market money and make sure that they're aware that there are resources available to get them purchase ready. Again, you are conditioning your database to get purchase ready, to not just wait. You're telling them, hey, let me help you. You think you might not be ready? Book a consultation. Let me decide what else needs to happen to get you pre-approved, right? So with marketing money, how do we do that? Beyond talking about credit, beyond telling them the benefits of becoming pre-approved, proof is in the pudding. You're going to need to learn loan products. You don't have to learn all of them. Earlier in the week, we talked about FHA loans, which have a lower credit score requirement. They have a lower down payment requirement. It is very forgiving, and for that reason, it is ideal for both first-time home buyers. Many think that they need to have 20% down. No, you can close with 3.5% down. Oh, and by the way, if necessary, we might be able to get you down payment assistance towards that 3.5%. And so again, as you learn more about the loan products and you're able to take that out into the market, I assure you, folks are going to raise their hands and say, can you do that for me? Can I get in on that? Because at the end of the day, when you market money, it's similar to what stores do. They tell you things are on sale. Buy one, get one free, 2 for 1, buy 3, buy one, get 3 free, right? It's all surrounding money. Well, you guys as real estate professionals in this space, as you're learning more about loans and the lending process, you can have a conversation about money. You can have a conversation about the biggest hurdle that many of your prospective clients are going to feel like they have, but without knowing that there are solutions out there in the market.
Perfect, perfect. I also love how you really also emphasized early on that the speed for lead, especially with renters, because that is such a true fact. Like the renters, they do not have the patience that the buyers out there do. So if we're
No.
not getting to them right away, they're already moved on. They were looking real quick and they've already moved on. So
Right.
it really is important. Speed to lead shoot them a text, who you are, why you're contacting them, and when you're going to call. And a lot of times that will help you, have them actually pick up the phone for when you call. So really important things to consider there, and a lot of ways that we can start educating our buyers or our renters on how do you get to that next property? How do we get you into a home? So a lot of great stuff there. All right, so let's shift gears a little bit and actually go over a few ways to maximize our time so that we can actually, scale. So could you go over a few ways to use automation and technology to help us kind of scale our lead funnel?
Absolutely. I mean, this is the easy part. This is the quick part. Once you know who you're talking to, and once you know what you want to say to them, how you're going to get it to them will not change, right? And so automation is a huge leverage button for you guys on the ability to scale quickly and broadly. Literally, the one message that you can get to one, you can get to many, many, many by using tools. And so some of the main tools we want to use again is rental beats, right? Again, because we want a huge funnel, right? We want to make sure we are top of funnel. When I used to teach this class, I used to tell realtors, when you wake up in the morning and you know how you raise your hand and I want you guys to, when you do that, think of your funnel, like, because you look like a funnel, right? With your arms up. Where am I marketing today? Where am I feeding the funnel today? When you raise each morning and lift your arms, where am I bringing in leads into my business today? Automation helps you with that. Because as Ben said, if you've already scheduled out posts for every day, we've already scheduled out emails, we've already scheduled out text messages, that funnel is working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week, right? Rental Beast is a done for you funnel that's working 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. Of course, your CRM, once they're dropped into there, again, those are the emails that are going out. Lead magnets should be pre-scheduled. Chat GPT is phenomenal. If you get stuck for words, ask Chat GPT what you should say. Clean it up a little bit, of course. Drop it into your emails, and all of a sudden you sound like a genius, right? Zoom is phenomenal for automation. There's ways when you connect it to your Calendly or other calendaring apps, it'll automatically send out the link for your in-person consultations, and of course texting apps. Guys, I'll tell you guys, you got to get comfortable with technology because it is literally the way you're going to scale. You're only one person, and generally you should be at a closing, right? So once you get the technology in place, let it run your business, your marketing piece for you.
That's so true. We got to leverage the things that are out there that free us up to be focused on marketing the money and closing the deals. So
Hello.
there's a lot of technology out there that can help us. They're not going to replace us, but it's definitely going to help us either be faster or more efficient at what we're doing. So
Right.
as we're thinking about scaling and optimizing, what are some items people should consider to increase their conversion chances?
Again, just going back to content. It's just going back to content and making sure that it speaks to your prospect. You want to add value, meaning again, I can tell you for sure, if I'm getting emails from a realtor that's telling me, hey, Racole, you don't need an 800 credit score. You don't need 20% down. You can become an investor by purchasing you can purchase a 4-unit home with an FHA loan and automatically have your renters paying your mortgage. That's value, right? That is value. And so not only providing this content, but providing the content consistently, that converts. Again, out of sight, out of mind. You want to make sure that you're staying in front of your contacts. And then lastly, we know that again, a portion of your lead pool will not convert without some personal engagement. We want to always include in our marketing schedule picking up the phone, right? We want to always include, especially our hot leads, picking up the phone, those that you see engaging. You're going to get people that are going to respond to your marketing, your emails with an email. They're going to send an email. I mean, by God, who believes that? Yeah. So you want to pick up the phone and call them. That's absolutely going to be necessary.
Well, that kind of naturally moves us into the last question here, which is, I know there's a need for human connection at times. So how do you balance tech with the human touch, and how do you kind of make sure that, we're doing this appropriately?
So one of the main things when we say tech, always if you jump on the phone, they can't answer, shoot them a quick text message, right? Handwritten notes are always great. I send handwritten notes and people always reply like, oh my God, like you literally sent a handwritten note, just because it's a lost art. Right? So anything that is a personal touch to your consumers are great. If you know, so birthday cards, right? Um, if you know someone's son is graduating, or you follow them on Facebook and so you want to send them a quick message. So do take some time. Maybe it's an hour of per week to just make some uh intentional organic touches to your prospects that's not entirely automated. It goes a long way.
I love that. I actually, when I was doing real estate, everyone that I met that was a promising lead or someone who we had symbiotic relationships with and could be a referral source, I would block about 2 hours every week. I would typically do it while I was watching a sports game, but that was going to be my note writing time. And I would give everyone a handwritten note
There you
and I
go.
get that out to them. And I'm telling you, the referrals that open up and the network that creates, it really is a powerful thing. So don't make it painful. Put it on your calendar, block it for
Yeah.
a time, crack a beer or something and just work only on those notes. No other distractions. Like I said, I had my game in the background, but it's a great way that we can do that. So a lot of
And
great.
people will literally, they'll pin those up. Like I've done it myself. When I get handwritten notes, I literally pin them to my wall. I promise you they'll do it.
That's so true.
Yeah.
Well, we got a lot of stuff covered here. We're going to open it up for questions and answers. I know we have a few that are trickling in, but before we answer our first question, Racole, could you tell us real quick about the offer that we have? And then we're going to start going through these questions and getting them answered. So while they trickle in, let us know what you got going on.
Absolutely. So to continue our conversation around the loan origination process and underwriting process that we started on Tuesday, and the conversation we're having today about marketing for purchase ready buyers, we have an opportunity on June to jump into a 3-part buyer agent mastery bootcamp. Now, in this bootcamp, we are going to provide the opportunity for realtors to first of all learn how to collect 2 commission checks at closing. And so I know you're like, Racole, you keep talking about this pre-approved. Like, how do I get them pre-approved? Well, if you are not if you're working with the lenders, then you need to do that with them. But if you are a loan originator, you can run them through your own process. Right now, there is a disruptive opportunity for realtors to become loan originators, Ben, without having to take a in-class, without having to take a class, right? An in-class exam, a state exam, safe, safe test, none of that. You literally have the opportunity to join one of our lending partners that we work with to become a mortgage loan originator in all 50 states. We did a master class last week. We had a number of realtors sign up. Just yesterday, one of my partners had the opportunity to close and collect 2 checks because it is legal, as a realtor and as the loan originator in New Jersey. And so this is a phenomenal opportunity. Again, as we know, with everything changing in the realtor landscape, guys, I assure you, for me, like I mentioned before, I've been operating as a one-stop shop for a number of years now. But specifically as it relates to becoming a loan originator, I had to do it the long old way. That's a long old way. I had to take the class, I had to pass the end of class exam, had to pass the state exam, had to, pay all the fees around it, and then continue to take continuing education. Believe it or not, if you don't believe me, join us on June 3rd. I will tell you exactly how you can be like my business partner yesterday that closed and is collecting 2 checks, a commission check as a realtor and a commission check as a loan originator, and is continuing to build her pipeline. This also, we were having a conversation because we always strategize around how to continue to market for this. This isn't just for buyers agents. If you have listings, how many of you have listings and you say the preferred lender is? Well, the preferred lender can be you, right? And so now this is an opportunity again to become a one-stop shop. When we're talking about streamlining opportunities for buyers to make it from contact to closing table, this is that. And so I welcome all of you guys to join us. The link is at the bottom. Join onestopshopagent.com. Again, it's a 3-part training. If you're not able to attend any of the days for any reason, there will be a recording provided, as well as some additional support materials. So I'm super excited. I'm super excited about it. Like you mentioned, Ben, I've been educating realtors for a number of years now. And myself as a one-stop shop, when I saw this opportunity, I said, you got to be kidding me. It's a no-brainer. I literally describe this as a no-brainer for realtors to take advantage of this, adding to their business.
I love it. I call it the what is it? Work smarter, not harder kind of thing.
Hello. I
Right.
tell them all the time, like, you're gonna be doing it anyway. You're gonna conduct a buyer consultation anyway. Oh, and by the way, you are for sure, as of August 17th, going to be conducting a buyer's consultation anyway. How about you just enlarge the scope of that meeting and collect some loan application documents like we talked about, so that you can collect an additional commission check at closing. You're going to be doing it anyway. Get paid more for what you're going to be doing anyway. So again, for those that need another commission check, you don't need a job. You need another. We would say you don't need a. We have this thing. We say no. You don't need a. You don't need a job. You need another source of income, and this is your additional source of income, staying in the vein of real estate. So I'm
Well,
excited. I'm super excited.
I
I'm a
encourage
little jealous. I keep saying I'm a little jealous because I had to do it the hard way, but
everyone.
I'm kind and I'll share the information.
Well, I love it. I encourage everyone to check it out. We got a few questions here and we're going to wrap up right after it. But one of the questions was, what kind of legal status is required to qualify for a home loan?
What kind of legal? Oh, so that's a good question. So you're asking maybe like an I-10 loan, resident alien, all of those are possible. Yep. And so what I would tell that buyer, again, come meet with me, because there are loan programs that are available. There's a lot of sophisticated, or what I call fancy products that are available that we don't know about. So you want to tell them, don't tell one thing. When I do home buyer workshops, don't tell yourself no. You tell your customers, do not tell yourself no. Book a consultation with me and let us find the best route for you to become a homeowner. Do not tell yourself no.
I love that. I love that. Don't disqualify yourself
Do
without getting
not
full
disqualify
information.
yourself.
Yep.
Exactly.
I love that. So one question that I saw was, how much time should I expect to spend and how much time should I expect to spend basically building it and then maintaining the funnel?
That's a good question. No, so it depends upon how sophisticated you would like to be. Again, if you could just use, I would start out by using the CRM that's available through your brokerage, right? Many of your CRMs, such as KV Core, for example, KV Core has landing pages. That's a funnel. There's a lead magnet. Your prospect is going to put their information in there. Their contact information is going to go from that landing page into your CRM. And your CRM, in there, you should have a sequence of emails that is going to continue to drip on that contact. So it could be as simple as that. So again, depending upon who you're with and what type of CRM is available to you, it takes as long as it takes for you to deploy that. So that's the short answer there. Now, if you want to go more sophisticated, how much time you got? I'll be very honest with you, how much time you got. But for most of us, you guys, just as simple as using the resources that are available to us, it's going to be sufficient. I promise you. Utilize your MLS to drip out a hot sheet. Utilize your CRM to send out the sequence of emails that are already in there.
Love it. Love it. All right, we got one more question and then we're going to wrap up for the day. This is a little bit of a repeat from Tuesday. So Carletta,
Okay.
I'll also advise you to look at that replay if you haven't seen it yet. She goes into 3-2-1s and stuff at the end as well as in the Q&A. But real quick, could you go over the different variations of the 3-2-1 and some of the ones that are available to buyers?
Oh, wow. So yeah, we definitely talked about that on Tuesday. So should I pull up my slide? No. So 3-2-1, the variations are this. So 3-2-1, 2-1, 1-1. The concept behind a buy down is that If you have a 3-2-1 buy down, the interest rate is bought down by 3% in year one, 2% in year two, and 1% in year three. 3-2-1 buy down. And so likewise, if it's a 2-1, it's going to be by 2% in year one, 1% in year two. 1-1 buy down, 1% in 1 year. That's the first concept. Now, what happens from there, once that temporary, and it's called a temporary buy down, once that temporary buy down period expires, the buyer's effective interest rate is going to kick back in. And so what happens is your buyer is going to be qualified at, say, for example, a 7% interest rate. But in year one, on a 3-2-1 buy down, for example, the monthly mortgage payments that they're going to make are going to be as if their interest rate was 4%. In year two, the monthly mortgage payments they're going to make is going to be as if the interest rate was 5%. In year three, the monthly mortgage payments that they're going to make is going to be as if their interest rate was just 6%. The reason why I'm saying as if is because that interest rate is 7%, but they have a temporary buy down where they're using funds from the seller to apply to their mortgage payments. And it's the same thing if it's a 2-1 or a 1-1. That's a very good mechanism to use for buyers who have an affordability issue right now, right? They want to get into a home, and the theory behind the framework is that by within a year, within 2 years, within 3 years, the interest rates will go down so that that buyer can refinance into a lower fixed interest rate. So they go in at 7 now. The idea is that within 3 years, within 2 years, within a year, the global interest rates will come down and that buyer can refinance into 5, 4. I don't know if we'll ever see 3 again, but stranger things have happened.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed.
Well, a lot of great information there. Carletta, I put the link to the replay page from Tuesday into the chat area if you didn't receive that in our follow-up emails. So we got that in there for you. And then again, everybody, I encourage y'all to look at Racole's workshop that she has going on. It's going to be really great. Join onestopshopagent.com. So definitely give it a look. And I know it would be a great asset to you and your business. Like she said, you don't need another job. You need another stream of income. It's a great option. So everyone, I know we went a few minutes over. I really appreciate y'all being here. Racole, thank you so much for all the information you provided and being so generous with your time with our audience this week. So thank you, thank you, thank you. It really was amazing to have you here.
Thanks for having me.
So, all right, y'all, everyone have a great afternoon. All right, see y'all.
Bye-bye.